This video is going over Priority Standard 1.2, what fraction of a group. So make sure you have a pencil and a paper, your paper notes. If you don't have the notes, you're not at school, then you can do it on a scratch paper. So our objective today is I can use diagrams and multiplication and division equations to represent and answer what fraction of a group questions. So hopefully in class you may have gone over some of this. So anytime you see of in math, that means to multiply. So of in math means multiply. So when it's asking, what is 1/3 of 7? Of means multiply, so it means 1/3 times 7. 7 as a fraction, we write as 7 over 1. So we can write this as 1 times 7, 3 times 1, 7/3. Okay? We can simplify it. 3 goes into 7 2 times with 1 left over. Okay, so of means multiply. Of means multiply. If it asks what is 4/5 of 9 2/3, so that means 4/5 times 9 2/3. Remember, when we multiply with fractions or divide with fractions, we need them both in fraction form. So one way to change 9 2/3 into fraction form is to multiply and then add. So 3 times 9 is 27. Plus 2 is 29, so this is the same thing as 29/3. So we have 4/5 times 29/3. You multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, and then you can simplify if needed. Okay, and then the last one, what is 2 4/7 of 10 1/9? Of means multiply, so you multiply these fractions, make sure they're in fraction form first. So how we do that? 7 times 2 is 14, plus 4 is 18. So this would be 18/7 times 9 times 10 is 90, plus 1 is 91 over 9. And then you can multiply, simplify before you multiply, or however you want to do it. Okay, so moving on. First activity, fractional batches of ice cream. Ice cream, yum, yum, yum. So it says, let's remember 2 divided by 4/5. So if we're looking at the whole number 2 and we're splitting it into groups of 4/5, you could be like, okay, this is one group of 4/5, this is 2 groups of 4/5, and then I have 1, 2 out of the 4 I need to make a full group of 4/5, so it would be 2 1/2, so a half of a group of 4/5. So that's kind of how we did it last time in class. So first one batch of an ice cream recipe uses 9 cups of milk. So this is for one batch. Okay, a chef makes different amounts of ice cream on different days. Here are the amounts of milk she used. On Monday she uses 12, on Tuesday 22 1/2, and so on. So first one, it says, how many batches of ice cream did she make on these days? This is going to be exactly like how the test questions will be for this unit. For each day, write a division equation, draw a tape diagram, and find the answer. So you can draw a tape diagram every time. If you don't want to draw a tape diagram and you show your work how you did it with just numbers, that's fine too. So how many batches? If we know there's 9 cups in each batch, then we take the number of cups we have and then divide it by that number. So for example, for Monday, I would do 12 divided by 9, because that tells me how many groups of 9 fit inside the 12 to help me know how many batches. So 12 divided by 9, I could really write as 12 over 9. And I need to simplify that. So 9 goes into 12 one time with 10, 11, 12, 3 left over, so 3/9. I can also simplify this fraction by dividing both the top and the bottom by 3. So this really equals 1, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So 1 1/3 would be my answer. There's 1 1/3 of a batch. If I want to draw this out, I'm going to do 12 cups, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be 12 cups. And we're seeing how many groups of 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is one batch. So this would be one batch. Okay, and then we have 1, 2, 3. 3 out of the 9 that I need to make a full second batch. So that's why it's 1 and 3/9, which equals 1/3. Okay, so same answer, 1 and 1/3 is our answer, 1 and 1/3, and we would label it batches. Okay, for Tuesday, we have 22.5 cups. So 22.5 cups, we're seeing how many groups of 9 fit inside, so each group of 9 is a batch. So I'm gonna do 22.5 divided by 9, okay? This one, I need to change this into fraction form. So the way I do that is multiply the denominator by the whole number. 2 times 22 is 44. And then I add the numerator. 44 plus 1 is 45. So this is really 45 halves divided by 9, okay? And when we divide with fractions, we need both of them in fraction form. So this 9, I'm going to just write it as 9 over 1. And then when I divide with fractions, I do something called keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flipperoo. Oops. Okay, so I keep the first fraction as 45 halves, keep it the same. Change the division to multiplication, and then flip the second fraction so the bottom is on the top and the top is on the bottom. So it becomes 1/9. Then you can multiply it out. So before I multiply it out, you can just multiply the numerators and then the denominators and then simplify. I like to sometimes simplify beforehand. So I know 45 divided by 9 and 9 divided by 9 I could simplify. So 9 divided by 9 is 1, 45 divided by 9 is 5. So this makes my job easier. 5 times 1 is 5, 2 times 1 is 2. So 5 halves, 2 goes into 5 2 times with 1 left over. So 2.5 batches. And again, you can draw a tape diagram, you could draw 22.5 squares, and then see how many groups of 9, and that can also help you see that there's 2.5 batches, okay? Okay, moving on to number 2. So number 2 says, what fraction of a batch of ice cream did she make on these days? For each day, write a division equation. So skipping to Thursday. Thursday uses 6 cups and Friday uses 7.5. So Thursday uses 6 cups and Friday uses 7.5. And remember, one batch equals 9 cups. So we take how much they had on Thursday, which is 6 cups, and we're dividing it by 9 because we're seeing how many groups of 9 fit into 6. And do any groups of 9 fit into 6? No, so we're just making a partial batch. So 6 divided by 9, which we could just write as 6/9. And then we can simplify by dividing by 3 on the top and the bottom. 6 divided by 3 is 2, 9 divided by 3 is 3. So 2/3 of a batch. So you can't make a whole batch, but you can make 2/3 of a batch. How I would represent that on this diagram, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, sorry. We have 6 squares, and I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 6 out of the 9 that I need to make a full batch, which is the same thing as 2/3. Okay, so if you like to draw it out, awesome. If you don't like to draw it out, awesome. Either one's fine. Okay, so Friday, we have 7.5 cups. I'm gonna change the color. We have 7.5 cups of, ice cream? And we need to divide it by 9. We need to see how many batches. So we need 9 for one batch, and if I only have 7.5, that means I don't have a full batch, but I have a partial batch, right? So I'm gonna change this into both in fraction form. So I can have them both in fraction form. I know 9 is just 9 over 1, so that's easy in fraction form. This one, we need to multiply the denominator by the whole number. 2 times 7 is 14, and then you add the numerator. 14 plus 1 is 15. So we have 15 halves divided by 9 over 1. So we're going to do our keep, change, flip. So keep 15 halves. So I do this, keep, change, flip. Keep 15 halves, change division to multiplication, and then flip 9 over 1 to be 1 over 9. Now we can multiply it out. before I multiply it out, I'm going to divide the top and the diagonal numbers both by 3, just to get easier numbers. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So now I have smaller numbers. 5 times 1 is 5. 2 times 3 is 6. And I can't simplify that. So 5/6 of a batch. So not a full batch, but really close. 5/6 of a batch. Okay. So that was the answer for Friday. Okay, here are some diagrams if you want to pause it here to kind of see what that looks like when you draw a tape diagram. Here's Monday and Tuesday. There's 1 batch, 2 batches, and then it was a half of a batch. And then here is Wednesday and Thursday. They showed that it's not a full batch, but it's a partial one. Not a full batch, but it's a partial one. Okay. Okay, activity 2. 1 container and 1 section of highway. Here are 3 tape diagrams that represent situations about filling containers of water. So, match each situation to a diagram and use the diagram to help you answer the question. So we're going to match and then we're going to answer. Match and answer. Then write a multiplication equation. So there's 3 steps and a division equation to represent this situation. So we're going to start with number 1. Tyler poured a total of 15 cups of water into 2 equal-sized bottles and filled each bottle how much water was in each. So if we have a total of 15 and we're splitting them into 2, that one way we could write that is 15 divided by 2. 15 divided by 2, we can write as a fraction 15 over 2, which equals 2 goes into 15 7 times, which is 14, plus 1 left over, so 7 and 1/2. How much water was in each bottle? I'd say 7.5 cups would be my answer. Here's my division equation. If you don't want to write it as a multiplication equation, that's okay. Just do whatever makes sense for the problem. But you could rewrite it differently if you would like. Now I'm going to see which situation shows this. So I have 15 cups. So all of these say 15 cups. But I'm looking for one where it splits it into 2 equal-sized batches. So the only one where it's splitting it into 2 equal-sized batches is right here. 1 container, 2 containers. This would be diagram 2. So I'm going to say 1 goes with diagram 2. Okay, let's do a different color for number 2. For funsies. Number 2, Kieran poured a total of 15 cups of water into equal-sized pitchers and filled 1.5 pitchers. How much water was in the full pitcher? So Kieran poured a total of 15 cups of water into equal-sized pitchers and filled 1.5 pitchers. So we're looking for when it fills 1.5 pitchers. Okay, so one way we could write this as a division equation would be 15 divided by 1 1/2. Okay, and that could give us our answer. So we're looking for when it's 1 1/2. We have 15 and we're splitting it into 1 1/2. And I notice right here, here's 1 full and a half. It's 15 split it to 1 1/2. And this is showing us what is 1 container. So it looks like diagram 1 matches with number 2. So I'm going to say diagram 1. Now I'm going to solve it. So 15 over 1 divided by 1 1/2. Okay, to change this to a fraction, we multiply first and then add. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So it's 3/2. So we have 15 over 1 divided by 3/2. We're going to do keep, change, flip when we divide with fractions. So I keep 15 over 1 the same. Change the division to multiplication. 3/2 flipped is 2 over 3. I'm going to divide before I multiply this time. Actually, I'm going to do it at the end. You can do it either one. So 15 times 2 is 30. 1 times 3 is 3. 30 divided by 3 is 10. So how much was in a full pitcher? We would say 10 cups. Okay, last one. Let's do it in red. it takes 15 cups of water to fill 1/3 of a pail. How much water is needed to fill 1 pail? So we have 15 cups of water and it's filling 1/3, okay? So it looks like diagram 3 matches with number 3. So I'm gonna say diagram 3. Make sure you get it matched correctly. So it takes 15 to fill 1/3. So if we do 15 divided by 1/3, that would give us our answer. Another way we could do it is to say, okay, if this is 15, this is 15, and this is 15. So when we do 15 divided by 1/3, when we do keep, change, flip, keep, change, flip, it really ends up being 15 times 3, right? Because we have 15 3 times. So 15 times 3 is 45. 1 times 1 is 1. 45 divided by 1 is 45. So my answer is going to be 45 cups for the full pail. And we wrote it right here as well. 45 cups. Okay, that's activity number 2. Clearing it up and moving on to our cool down. So remember, this is a great time to pause and try to do the cool down on your own, and then check to see if you're doing it right. Okay. So funding a camping trip. Funding a camping trip. Okay. Funding a camping trip. Consider the problem. Students in a 6th grade class are raising money for an end of year camping trip. So far, they have raised $240. This is 2/5 of the cost. So remember, a lot of times we can do of the cost of the trip. How much does the trip cost? So they raised 2/5 of the trip. So in other words, we could say we could do 240 and divided by how much they have done on the trip. Another way we could think about it is 2/5 of means multiply. So 2/5 of times the cost of the total trip equals 240. Okay? So we need to figure out what that is. What we do to find what that is take the answer and divide it by 2/5. So 240 divided by 2/5, which is what we're doing over here. Okay? So write a multiplication equation and a division equation. So our multiplication equation would be 2/5 times something equals 240. Our division equation would be 240 divided by 2/5 equals something. Okay? And that something, that missing part, can always be x. But I'm just going to solve it now. So 240 over 1. Keep, change, flip. I'm going to do keep, change, flip when I divide with fractions. Keep, change the division to multiplication. 2/5 flipped is 5/2. Okay, I know I could divide both of these by 2. 240 divided by 2 is 120. 2 divided by 2 is 1. I know 240 divided by 2 is 120 because 24 divided by 2 is 12. So 240 divided by 2 is 120. So now we can multiply. We're just going to multiply 120 times 5. So 120 times 5. Okay, 5 times 0. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So 600 over 1. So how much does the total cost of the trip would be? $600 total cost. Okay, make sure you got that right. Then you put your name on your paper, put it in the basket, and then you can start on the other parts of the assignments for today.